guys, good evening. Welcome to our new session. Last time was really funny, and we thought we can do it again. And it's been a while. It's been last year since we did it, and yeah, it's been overdue. So here we are. Hi.
So now the first and interesting part of the whole evening for sure is who wins the big pack and who wins the colors. Yeah, Philip.
Yeah, we had like a lot of participants. It was really cool, and some of you really tried hard and gave us a lot of love and shared us around. And I'm green is still visible. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, here we go. So, and the winners are. Tension is building. Yeah. Number one, brush for fire. Really. Thank you so much. Yeah. Brush for hire with the beautiful figure that we picked for him. I love the figure, and I think I'll get one for myself because it's really cool. It's the big wheel and everything, and you sure love it. Number two is Cajun Beauty. You wrote some words in the chat, and I thought I don't answer, and here's my answer for you. You win a pack of paint. A pack of our pizza paint. You really wanted them, and of course now you get them. And same for Lexi. Really cool. Thank you for your support. And I think none of you two, neither Lexi nor Cajun Beauty, is in our beta team. Because we have the option for you to pick if you either want beta paints or like if you are already in the beta team and still participate in our competition. We have the option to send you really cool from the German company MAC some effect pigments. Yeah, you can choose either one. Yeah, maybe I can. I don't know. I can. Yeah, you get the paints, and I put some effects pigment in. That's no problem. Yeah, let's do it that way. You don't need to do the easy one. Okay. So the effect pigment, you have to use some medium. It's just pigment. But they're really cool. They're like iridescent. So we have like yellow and green and different blues and magenta, violet, and they're just iridescent. Like you put them on a white surface and they shine a little bit the color. When you put them on a dark surface, they really anything you want to add?
Um,
Did I forget something? I always forget something.
no, I think yeah, that's all for this topic. Yeah, maybe one of the winners will also tell us something. Otherwise, I think we can switch to the next topic.
Yeah. If somebody of you wants to say something, now's the time. Yeah, just I don't know, raise your hand in the chat or whatever.
No, you need to use the push to talk function. I think you need to switch this on, push to talk, and then you can yeah, push the button, and until you loosen it, you can talk. Yeah. Last time we had some problems at the meet the team on the stage. Some people were not able to talk and had some problems. So we said we tried this time make it at a voice channel.
Yep.
So if somebody tried to talk and have some problems, please tell us at our channel, and then yeah, we will have a look.
Nobody wants to talk to us.
No. Okay, no problem. Well, yeah, then Philip, maybe you want to show a photo of the colors, or if you get some on the hand.
Yeah, why not? Just to have something to you, like our ugly faces are not the topic of today's today's talk. Make it slow. Rocks, words, and no, that's not what I want.
Yeah, if you can't find it, it's not that hard. So we can send a picture later on.
Let's keep talking.
Okay.
Let's talk about paint today. For all the guys of you, guys and girls that haven't seen our last with the team session, just a short thing. We are going to start our own paint line, and the thing is, we are doing it totally on ourselves. I'm a professional chemist with lots of I've worked in the field of surface coatings my whole professional career, and I thought it can't be that hard to make my own paint, but yeah, it's harder than I thought. Like, it's always that thing, like oh, that's easy, I can do that, no problem. And yeah, it took me a while, but I was just not really satisfied with the paints that were around. It's been like 2 years ago or something. I don't know. I can't quite remember. Yeah, 2 years or so.
Yeah, more than 2.5, I think. Yeah.
That. And I thought I can do that myself. And at that time, there were just the big companies everybody knows. And in the meantime, there's been lots of smaller paint companies popping out. Everybody's doing their special sauce and everything. And but I just concentrated on real, proper, good paints. More thought for the professional user, because I thought, like, when you are looking around in the artist, it's like you always find lots of information about the pigments that are inside the paint, and them like the best pigments you can get and make really good paints out of them. Paint is not made of pigments only, it's the base binder, the medium you call it in the artist field, and it's the base, and then there's lots of additives that make the paint behave better, stop it from foaming and stuff. And then there's also the solid additives you put in, like metaling agents and all those things. And it's a whole package of stuff, and you have to do it right. And the problem is you don't find any good information. Like you have to search yourself. There are books on paint, but they mostly concentrate on like car paints and interior paints and house paints and stuff. And the water form, like the water-based paints, there's always a small chapter and nothing special. It's a newer thing. And the people that write books, they don't write books about miniature paint manufacturer or like artist paint manufacturer. There are books, but they're bad, and whatever. It's like you are on yourself. And I had to do lots of experiments, talking to industry guys, working together with them. We have good relationship with our suppliers.
Main supplier.
Sorry?
Yeah, main supplier, sorry.
Our main supplier.
Philip?
Sorry?
Do you want to switch your camera on again, maybe?
Yeah, why not? People can't see me, sorry.
Yeah, so I'm...
Yeah, and
It's not on.
Not on yet. Hold on a second. How do I do?
So everyone need to see me now, and you are talking. I think that's better. Yeah. Thanks.
Better? Okay, alright. Good. Yeah, like our suppliers, BASF, and pigment suppliers like also BASF, and there's ferro pigments, and there's also smaller companies, and the additive manufacturers, and you talk to everybody, and they're like, oh, I don't know, artist paints, nothing special. Because they want to sell volume, big volume, and artist paint is just a small chapter. I was myself, and I had to experiment a lot and made a lot of good progress. And I showed it to my friends, like Marcel and Jonas, for example. We used to play tabletop stuff together. We painted our figures and showed it to them. Oh, cool. Let's use it for ourselves. And I tried to supply it to them and everything, and then somebody said, why don't you make a real proper product out of it? And that's when we first started to do it real properly, like talking to the industry guys, and because all the time I was just asking for samples, small samples, work just for ourselves, and they're happy to give out those samples. That's what I've been working with the whole time, because now I got to the point where I want to talk about business benefit. It's the thing is, when you want to start a company like this, the problem is pigments are expensive, especially when you buy the more expensive ones. They are only supplied in batches of 25 kilos or something, or 30 even. So you have, let's say, 25 types of pigment times 25 kilos, and a kilo of pigment can be anything from 5-8 euros, that's the cheapest ones, and the most expensive ones, they're like around, I don't know, 70 build a real proper company. It's not just like one Kickstarter thing and get a whole lot of money and then bye-bye, thank you. Yeah, but even big paint companies do Kickstarters nowadays. I was like, even, you know, in the time I was doing my research and working, I saw a couple of Kickstarters coming up, and every time I was like, oh no, somebody made a Kickstarter with paint. I have to stop now. It doesn't work anymore, you know? And yeah, they make really big money, and the thing is, they're already established companies. Why do they do Kickstarter? You know,
Yeah, it's not the idea of Kickstarter, right? Yeah, Kickstarter is the idea to start a new business, and
exactly. Yeah. I was always like devastated. Like my whole day was gone. You know. But yeah, you have fun.
Yeah, but Philip, why do you think it's also a good idea to launch Ultracryl? What is special than all the other companies you seen launching at Kickstarter or wherever?
Thing is, we have like settled ourselves in the more professional range. Our paint is just like made from the base up to be a good paint, you know. We tried all the best materials we can get. We tried like not the pigments, like all the binders and additives and everything. We always selected like the better ones, the best ones that worked with our system. And yeah, you know, it's really a superior product. The pigment content compared to like everything we've tried, and can easily be all of them double, I'd say, easily. Some of them like, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 times, I don't know. And it would still work because, yeah, it's still a good paint. It could be a better paint then, but they don't do it. They just put in, okay, I say they. When I say they, I mean most of them. Okay, there's some that are that do a good job, but most companies can put in like as much as you know that it still works out, and yeah, always the cheapest kinds of pigments, and yeah, I think our paints are just because of that they're superior, you know. And then there's also the thing. I'm like a green guy, and I love green chemistry as well. I did my thesis on something related, and it's, you know, people get miniatures with our paints, and they lick the brush, and because you need a pointy tip, and then you ingest a little bit of the paint. You know, formaldehyde, for example, is something that's been regularly put in paints. Like it's a substance that releases formaldehyde to give the paint a better, like stop germs from growing inside, and yeah, something like that. We avoid. It's not good for your health, you know. Don't do that. There's alternatives. We use them, and all those things. We just select sources that do green chemistry. Like it's not like, for example, we just selected some cobalt pigments, and cobalt is like conflict material, and it's been harvested in Africa from little boys and stuff, and they mine the cobalt, and it's you can't, I can't sell a pigment that's been sourced from those industry as well. Like
Mm.
they all our suppliers adhere to standards and everything, and we don't buy crap Chinese stuff. Yeah.
So in a nutshell, you would say Ultracryl uses pigments nobody else on the market will supply them. Is this
No,
correct?
you can buy them. It's no problem, but you want to buy them. You need to want to buy them. It's a question of they're a little bit more expensive. What was your question?
I try to get this point. So if you have a look at the miniature market of acrylics, there's I think no other supplier where you can get the yellow pigment we use at the Ultracryl color series, right? The PY184.
I've not seen it in any of them. Like,
yeah. So that's the point.
Pigment, yeah, one other thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I always try to find the newest stuff, like the bleeding edge stuff, and we found some yellow pigments that are usable even on dark surfaces, and you just need to like put on 100 microns thick, and they are perfectly opaque then. So other yellow pigments, everybody knows, yellow, orange is a problem. You need like 5, 6, 7, I don't know, even more sometimes, coats on dark surfaces to get them to be completely opaque. So I searched around for a pigment that's not only, there's yellow pigments around that are really good coverage, but there's the cadmium pigments. They are banned from use except for artist paints because they're so toxic. And the small market for artist paints, they say, okay, could be alright, but still they're so toxic you can't use them. So no pigments like that. So what else is there? There's like one called titanium yellow, nickel titanium yellow, and it's also very opaque. Problem is it's also very light, pale, totally pale. It doesn't have any real brilliance of color in it, no saturation. So yeah, I had to look on, and there's a pigment that's been recently, like I don't know, last 10 years, introduced slowly in the market, and it's picking up now because it's a yellow pigment that's non-toxic, it's perfectly opaque, and it's really, really high color saturation. So, you know, all those things, and all the other things, like you can use it outside because it doesn't color fade in the sun, color doesn't fade, UV stability, high performance, it's like high temperature, it's not really, it's not too fast, but yeah, all those good things that a pigment has to bring, it's there, and it's a bit more expensive, but it's not like our paints will be like prohibitively expensive, you know. Don't worry. If you look around in the artist pigment, in the artist paints scene, like oil paints and stuff, there's companies like Golden Acrylics, or a German company, Schminke, and they all publish like on the back of the bottle what's inside, like the pigments that are inside. And I've seen one of them, Schminke, is already using that pigment, but for oil colors, something like that. Yeah, it's something novel. And then all the other use of yellow little bit less saturated then. So I don't like it really, but there's also an alternative on the novel pigments market. It's a combination of an organic pigment on the outside to give the pigment a nice color, nice hue and everything, and an inorganic pigment on the inside to give it opacity, and then they bake them and then grind them again, and yeah, it's like how do you call it, a hybrid pigment, and that's something for those yellow hues. So yeah, I found all the cool stuff.
And
yeah.
And maybe there are some other nice pigments we use, which you can't find by other companies. I'm not sure. Maybe the cyan one.
There's exactly. There's a lot more actually. We should put up the color gamut picture, I think. I'm not sure. Can you put it up, Marcel?
Yes, I think I paint. Let me see.
Because I have problems with the share.
Yes, let me see.
Yeah. In the meantime, there's also other pigments that I've not seen in the miniature scene. Camera has come up with a really nice line. They've already had a good proper assortment paint, and then now they come up with another nice line of cool pigments, and they finally introduced like ultramarine. We also mapped their color gamut, and just ultramarine alone gave them a huge boost in the blues. Like ultramarine is the most important blue you can get. It's a magic blue, and the reason why it's not really used in the miniatures market is because it is a little bit transparent, so you don't get that good coverage. But still, we decided to use it first because we found a type that is quite opaque for an ultramarine, and we also gave it a little boost with our special sauce. And and now I think it's a really nice paint because it gives you those blues you can't have with other miniature paints. And Camera uses it also. But in the cyan color space, cyan is a very, very special color because cyan is so none of all the pigments that are currently on the market are a proper cyan.
Philip, can you see the wheel?
I can. I don't know. I can see you. I'm not sure.
The wheel is visible if you join the stream.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Cool. Okay. Which wheel is it? Ours or both? Cool. Okay. Right. So what you're seeing right now is color wheel. It's a circular projection all around the circle. You have all the you call them
the hues?
the hues, the spectral colors. Sorry, and it starts with the yellow, then the orange, the reds, and goes around with the blues, the greens, and back to the yellows. And the further out you go, the higher is the saturation. The more strong the color gets.
The more vibrant, right?
More vibrant. vibrant even, yeah. Going in, you get more dull until you are in the middle, and then you can decide you're either white or black, depends on the type of projection you use, because it's a three-dimensional thing. The white point is on one side, black point is on the other, but when you look from above, that's what we do, it's both black and white. So usually it's black, so going inside usually shows that the pigment gets duller, or the color gets more dull, and then we have like a little machine, it's called a photospectrometer. You put a patch of paint or pigment on a sheet of paper and you put the spectrometer on it, and it tells you where on that whole gamut the current color you are measuring is positioned. So what we did is just mapped all our paints, and we mapped camera. We mapped, I have to add, we mapped their pigments, the same pigments they use. Like, they say what pigments they use, because we didn't get those colors at that point, so we used the same pigment, which is almost the same thing, like it's plus or minus a little bit wiggling around. It's not that important. So, but I just say, we didn't use their colors, we used the pigment, but it's the same thing for this projection. And yeah, you can see where they are positioned at the moment, and you see the big boost of blue with the ultramarine pigment you get. Oh, I have to add, like the line all around the circumference, and it's called a mixing line. And if you have 2 points, 2 arbitrary points somewhere on that whole graph, it's like you have 2 pigments, 2 points, and then you add a line straight through those 2, and every color on this line you can get by mixing those 2. So if you put like, let's say, a yellow and a red top, and you put a line in between them, all the points that are on that line, the oranges, you can get by mixing those. Like, although it wiggles a little bit, but usually that's what you get. And when you have 3 of them, you get a triangle, right? And everything inside that triangle is mixable out of those 3 pigments. And if you have the magenta, the cyan, and the yellow, you get a triangle, and yeah, that's what printers do, for example, and it's just a triangle. So everything that's outside of that triangle, you can't, it's a color you can't mix. That's why prints are not that saturated and crisp looking, not that brilliant. And the more colors you add, you get like a polygon out of it, but that's what we have here. So it's the most important pigments we have that are most outside, and then we just add the lines in between of them, and everything that's inside is the colors we can mix out of them. Everything that's outside is yeah, it's unmixable out of those colors. And the bigger your gamut is, the more colorful is your artwork here. Like there's also, it looks like a shoe. That's all the colors that are visible by the human eye. You can also put that on that projection, and it's well outside everything of our paint, because there's more colors in the world that you can see, but you can't mix by the paint. So yeah, that's what this That's a real proper science. And out of everybody knows the cobalt blue, you know, the aquamarine blue and the cobalt blue. And out of this pigment, cobalt blue, you can tweak it a little bit, and you can add a little bit of chromium and titanium. Like that's what the pigment manufacturers do. They put some chemicals in their oven, and then they bake it at really hot temperatures, and the atoms start to fuse to get molecules out of it, or at least mixtures, pretty close mixtures, and it's called calcination. And then they take it out of the oven, and all of a sudden you have really, really nice glue in your crucible. And they tweak it, and they add something, and the color changes and everything, and they manage to produce, like in the artist paint scene, like oil paints and stuff. You can get it for a long time, I think, and it's really, really nice turquoise blue, and it's the closest thing to cyan we have at the moment. It's closer than the phthalocyanine blues, and it's a really, really nice turquoise. It's called Turkish turquoise, I think, or something. And it's I always love the cooler colors, but I've just said to somebody in the chat, I've not seen a cool color like this, and I mean cool, right? Cool. I really love it.
Okay.
And we have to put it in our range.
Yeah, which this is another pigment we are not shown in this diagram until now, or is this the PG50?
Yeah, it's PG50.
Ah, okay.
It's called green because P means pigment, G means green. 50 is just an arbitrary number. They number it not arbitrarily, but in sequence. When new pigments come out, they get a new number, 50, 51 and something, and this is green number 50. And the green pigments also, you find not a lot of them. Like actual in production greens, you have to look around. The most common green pigment is like this PG7, and PG7 is everywhere, like literally everywhere. You find it in every piece of plastic and everything around you that's green. You can bet your bottom it's pigment green 7 usually. I think it's like 90-something% of market share, and it's everywhere really. And then there's a variant of PG7 which is called PG36, and it is much more suited for aqueous use, I think, in my opinion, because PG7 is a very cool green, and PG36 is more of a warm green. And in the upper area, you see, like in between yellow and green, it's this huge range, and there's nothing in there, almost nothing. And regarding pigments, and PG36 is a good color to mix with yellows to get like those spring May yellow, May green, spring green, you know, and like those really light greens. And we just experimented with a little bit for the beta paint, and we mixed this PG36 with the lemon yellow PY184. I've just told you the bismuth yellow, and the mixture out of those two is just flows you. It's really nice. It's like, I don't know, almost how do you call it? Sorry.
Yeah, the neon ones.
Neon. We call them neons, but they are actually luminescent Yes, no, no. Sorry. I'm lacking my vocabulary. Sorry.
Not you alone. Yeah, I also can't find the right word. It's
yeah, fluorescent. Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you, Frank. Yeah, fluorescent colors. Okay, it takes some time. Sorry. That's almost fluorescent. I really love it. And yeah, that's our color range. We have some more additions down there in the magenta corner because we want to use also cobalt violet, and there's two kinds of cobalt violet. The one I put in this gamut is really, really bright. I'm not sure if it's still available because I just talked to our supplier and he told me he's not sure, and just imagine this stuff could move a little bit more inside. If that happens, we update the gamut, but it's pretty close. So yeah, that's also something I have not seen in the miniature scene at least. For artist oil paints, you get it, no problem. You have to look around, but you get it. But yeah, it's those more special pigments. They're more expensive. They're like in the €60 range per kilogram. But yeah, whatever.
And the orange and the red side, there are also some pigments outside of the Chimera range. Are they special, or is this also something you...
Yeah, well, are they special? The PO73 we are using is a more common pigment, but it's a more expensive pigment again. So it's just a teeny tiny bit above the other oranges, but we did a comparison of oranges. We just put some orange pigments next to each other. I think it's on our website.
Yep.
And it's two common oranges, and then ours next to it, and you really see the difference. It's a thing, you know. If you don't know the comparison, that there's something more colorful, your eyes, they adjust. Like you can look at a black and white picture and say, okay, I can see everything. And you can look at a pale picture and still say, okay, looks blue, looks yellow, looks green, your eyes adjust. But more saturation, you can't, it's hard to imagine, you know. And yeah, like they all were selected with more saturation. And if you don't have a direct comparison, like you really, like when you see them, it blows you away. They're really, really bright and yeah, not quite fluorescent, but like going in that range. And if you want a little bit duller, you can always dial them down, like like some complementaries or whatever, or just use other pigments. It's not like we have just the brightest and most flashy pigments. We also have like good base pigments that you always can adjust. Let's talk about our color range. Should we talk about color range?
Sorry?
About the color range.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Okay.
I think one more thing maybe you try to tell this. If we mix browns or something like this inside of the color wheel, we don't use the really expensive pigments. Yeah, you don't need the brightest orange and the brightest red and the brightest green to mix a dull brown. Yeah, so for this we also use the the cheaper pigments because they do their job, right? So yeah, it's not necessary to use expensive, very vibrant pigments to do some mixture for dull colors. So that's the last thing I want to say to
but
this.
still then we use like a good pigment. It's not like it's always like the most opaque or whatever, like the iron browns, iron-based pigments. They are perfect for those things, and they're good pigments. Like, Then let's talk a little bit about our color range and how it's organized. We have like 80 something shades of colors and everything, and it's a whole lot at the first glance. But our goal is like, we do really good pigments, we do really good paints and everything, and we split it a little bit. Like there's people that just want to paint. They want their blue they've been using for their uniforms, for their soldiers or whatever, and like when they want to expand their army in I don't know 2-3 years in the future, they still want that same color. They just pick it from the bottle, use it, and they can be sure it's that blue. And therefore we use mixes of color to expand our range from those 25, 30 pigments we're using to get also the mixes, the most important mixes. We've looked around what all the other manufacturers do, and we always try to find colors that either match them or are consensus, like quite fitting, and that's when we came to those 80 something colors. Still, we split it a little bit. The mixes are in there, and the just monopigmented ones are in there. So, like the really more professional painters that love their monopigmented stuff, like Camera does it, we list them separately, and you can just pick those and have your monopigmented colors and paints and mix them to your heart's content. And also for the people that want their mixes to be proper every time the same, we adjust later on when we do manufacturing. I've already set up a quality assurance things, so we test each batch for their color match. Like we have a master color that's been tested all through, and we keep samples of that and everything, and we keep the numbers in our computer, and every time we make a new batch, we check that batch for the hue, because you never get it quite the same. It's the hardest thing in the world, actually. You actually never get the same hue. You can mix all you want, but the last few percentiles, it will never work out. But visible for the human eye, there's delta E values that are just how far off you are with your paint, and everything below 3, I think, is invisible. And in our quality assurance, we want to max maximum of 1. So every batch gets measured, and if it doesn't fit, if it's yellow, let's say, we have a little bit of blue, then measure again. Okay, now it fits. All right. So we have to adjust that. That's what we want to achieve, like all the time, proper, same color. It's standard.
And one thing, we also will give away print on our website are the exact mixing ratios. So you can, if you only have the monopigmented ones and you want to mix a nice brown, a nice green, whatever, you can have a look at the mixing sheets we will provide, and there are the exact ratios between the monopigmented, so you can mix it by your own, by only having the monopigmented ones.
Yep, exactly. So everybody gets served, I think, because if you try to approach like Camera, we only make the monopigmented ones, and we lose all the customers. Just be honest, we lose all the customers that want their shades and tints and everything, their mixtures. And since we want to start a proper company, we need those people also. I mean, it's not like it's customers, it's good. So we try to split our palette in a way to serve everybody. That's the best way.
Yeah. I keep an eye on the on the time, and maybe we will open now for discussion. So I think we talk quite long about pigments and colors. So yeah.
One thing. Let's a little bit talk about our schedule, like what's going on at the moment, because it's also important. We are a little bit late in our schedule, to be perfectly honest with you. We had we wanted to supply our beta testers, but we already selected 8 months ago, 9 months ago, something. It was a bit early. We wanted to supply them with beta paints in, I don't know, autumn, I think, autumn was it? And we had a huge delay because something was not quite right, and I had to scrap the whole ordeal and say, okay, we have to do it again, because one of our suppliers screwed up a little bit and gave us the wrong ingredients. So we had to redo the whole thing, talk to everybody, get new materials in. It took so long. I don't know. Everything is quite slow at the moment because of the coronavirus situation. And until we got everything, we had to start over again, because it was the base material, the main base, polyurethane, acrylic, medium you call it. And from then we had to adjust everything anew, and I said, okay, I don't want to send out 20 people all the paints at one go, because there was this one thing, and I'm a little bit superstitious, and we selected one of our beta testers that's in Germany, Tamer. And Tamer agreed, we sent him first a pre-beta, alpha version of the paint. And we just sent it to him, and we wanted to know a little bit about how the paint handles, and I sent him 4 different variations of it. And the idea was to get feedback from him, what he thinks is, as an artist, is the best mixture sent him yellow to try out, and he said, "Yeah, yellow is nice, but to try it really out, I need some, I don't know, 5 colors or something, you know, six
Yeah,
colors,
to try the blending and all these things.
Yeah, I just finished it this evening, and we sent it out to Taylor. He's giving us his final words, how he likes it, what can we adjust, and we have everything in stock now. All the supplies are here. So when Taylor gives us his go, we start to produce the beta paints. It will take us, I don't know, 1-2 weeks until they are finished and out everything. Then the beta testers also need to get the paints. They're spread all around the world, and then we wait, I don't know, 2-3 weeks for their reply and their feedback, because that's why we are doing this testing thing, because we want to make sure that you artists get a proper, good paint that works perfectly for you. You know, everybody has his own ideas how good paint should behave. Everybody has his own painting style. So yeah, from all those recipe ideas we have here, with the beta test, we want to make sure it's a paint that people love to use. It's not just specs, like very colorful, vibrant, lots of pigment inside. Like when I say lots of pigment, I really mean lots of pigment. It's like, I don't know, at least double, 3 times of what others do. So we really put in a lot, and we just wait for their feedback then. It's not specs only. It's we want to make sure people love to use it. It works good with your painting style and everything. So that's why we are doing this beta testing. And from them, we just need to start the campaign. And everything else we sort out until then. We have to get some machines add-on for mixing. We already selected them, talked to the suppliers, everything. And I don't see any big risks coming up, because the only thing I see coming up is at the moment the supply chain is quite fragile because of the coronavirus situation. Everything, all the raw materials, our suppliers tell us they have to say, okay, it used to be 3 weeks, but it's now 2 months waiting time until it gets delivered and stuff, because they also have problems, and it's all because of the virus situation, the feedback loop that comes after that, and that's the biggest risk I see in the whole thing, that we are waiting for, I don't know, 2 pigment types, and it just takes that long until we get it. That's the biggest risk. Maybe then we can swap out the pigment or so, but I don't want to do that, to be honest. And at the moment it's just coronavirus situation. But they all said they can deliver, and they all said they can deliver in at least 2 months. They make sure we get our stuff, and that fits quite nicely with our our schedule, because the whole Kickstarter has to run and everything, and after that we also need our time for manufacture, packaging, sending out and everything, and it should fit quite nicely. So, that's the biggest risk I see, but it's just
So,
be worse.
stage is yours.
Enough talking. I
So, are there any questions from you wish to get rid of?
Yeah, get answered.
Then now it's your time.
Yeah. Whatever you want to ask.
Have you figured out on your base matte whites that classic chunkiness issue that almost everyone seems to have? It's either super chunky or super liquidy.
The whites, you mean?
Yeah, like the base matte sharp, eggshell whites.
Ah, okay, I see. You mean they can be quite chalky from appearance, or what do you mean with chalky? Just
The actual consistency of like the paints.
okay, I
Like
see.
it gets clumpy, or like it comes out clumpy, or it's like really liquidy.
Okay.
It's always one or the other across multiple lines I've tried now.
Yeah. It's white is like I'd say a problem pigment because the thing is it's titanium white usually the pigment that's inside there, and in order to get really good coverage you have to put in lots of pigment also. And what you mean is if the bottle stands for a long time, I'd say it settles on the ground, and then it's clumpy when you try to pour it out. Is that what you mean? It doesn't.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I've even had issues where, like, I'll have dropper bottles with mixing bowls in them and use them consistently. Like right now, I'm in the middle of like huge white scars commission,
Huh.
and the only time I ever get flat, nice coverage is through an airbrush. You try to do a brush work with it, and it's always a nightmare. I've got like 4 different versions of white on my desk right now.
Yeah. It can be patchy, right? When you brush it up. Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah. That's a typical issue with the titanium white pigment. They are now trying to, they did manage, like printers, like at home you have the CMYK printers, and for more professional use there's also printers with white inside, and they also use titanium white, and it took them so long to manufacture this because titanium white gets clumpy all the time. It's a very heavy pigment, and it starts to agglomerate a lot, and yeah, they had real issues, like they had to pump it around all the time, pump was to be on all the time, and compared to our paints again, those pigments start to agglomerate, and that's what you see there. When you put them in an airbrush, there's lots of force with the air, shear force inside the nozzle, and it completely blows them apart again. And then you get really nice coverage. The thing about the whites is how do you call it in English? Sorry, I'm not an English natural speaker. It's called an additive that's specially made to keep the pigment particles separate from each other, because they always try to hug their friends and get clumps, and there's a certain type of pigment additive you put in, and it keeps them apart from each other. And the one we are using is for the whites, especially made for the whites. So I think it's the best one. To be 100% honest with you, I haven't seen it yet, okay? But what we didn't do is, because our formula is not finalized yet, put the bottle somewhere and keep it there for a really, really long time in that formula, okay? That's what we need to do. And at the moment I didn't see that issue because we're really using a good dispersion
consistent honesty as to when you guys know you're still working on something, or there might be a hiccup currently in the setup.
Yeah, why not? It's nothing bad. It just happens, you know. Just for everybody, I put it up in the server and everybody can read it. Not just everybody can read it, and I check. Yeah.
If you had to guess how far out the Kickstarter going up would be, were you thinking a couple months, roundabout?
Yeah, roundabout there. Yeah, I'd say. Jose, what's your idea?
My time suggestions are totally wrong. Whatever I say, it took longer. So let's say, okay, if I choose the second quarter this year, then maybe it would be the third. Hopefully.
I'd also say like summer is a good time. Yeah, I think until then, because it's the supply chain thing again. But I'd say.
Yeah, not only. I think after we get feedback from the beta tester, we need to have a look. Are there quite some real issues we need to fix before we can start the Kickstarter with a good feeling? If there are some main issues, we say, okay, with this we can't start, then maybe it could took longer. At this time, I think we are on a really, really good track. I don't think we got some big issues, but you never know. And then second thing is also if the beta testers say, everything is perfect, we can start directly with this formula. I think we need a bit more of marketing, because also if the color maybe is really one of the best color available, we will not be successful if nobody knows about it or not enough people. So I think after the beta tester have tested it and maybe also spread the word, if they really like it, we need to have a look how many people know about the product, and can we start the Kickstarter right now, or do we need to make some marketing at first? So we all don't like marketing. We are normally all users. Nobody of the 1001 Labs team like marketing, but what should we do? Looks like we need it.
Everybody knows about it, and the whole thing can't start. I forgot what to say. Marketing is not nice. By the way, we're doing everything by ourselves. Like, it's also all the marketing material, all the logos and stuff, and everything. We don't like sourcing out, because let's spend 1,000 here and 1,000 there and everything. This is our company. We want to build it. We want, it's our, we try to do our best, and
I might have something to help you in that regard, actually. So,
okay.
Basically, Tabletop is one of 3 brands I run right now. My main business right now, which I've been doing for 6 years, is actually a web development and online marketing / social media development consultation firm, where I specialize in small businesses, startups, and individuals setting up and going to work in their brand. I can foresee the possibility of some kind of arrangement that's not heavy on the cash flow on your end. Let's say for consultations where I'm not going to say I'm going to take over your marketing, but I can definitely set you in the right direction with the assets you already have going.
Okay.
In a number of directions. Because I already looked through a lot of your material, and I can see areas where you could easily, time and money-wise, expand massively and just jump up your efficiency with your marketing time.
Yep. Because marketing time is something, again, thank you for the offer, it's really good. Marketing time is something that keeps us from actually working on the product itself, you know. We split up
a lot of ways of automating a lot of it. You can set up a lot of things now. There are various services, websites where you can spend, like, say, a day and program out an entire month's worth of marketing across multiple social networks at the same time. And it just runs for you, for example. It's just a matter of deciding who you want to hit and with what. You know, your demographics, your keywords, and your assets, which you already have a lot of your assets already created, your visual assets, basic videos too, because now like Reels and TikToks have become super popular, and it takes like minutes to make.
Yep. TikTok is the thing, especially when I'm standing in the lab and doing some weird stuff, you know, like a minute video.
I love it.
Can go a long way, right? I think
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, for sure.
Well, actually, I use mostly pure pigments, single pigments for painting, and I would like to be interested in if your future range would include colors that could neutralize each other, like they are true complementaries, for for manipulating the saturation and knowing where to stop, etc., etc. Because mostly I paint with pure pigments, like you said, with Chimera, and I would be interested to know more about this possibility with your colors.
Okay. As I said, when you're working with pure pigments, you have to work with that pigment, and it's somewhere on that color gamut. Depends on which pigment. But doing what you just said, like proper complementaries. As I said, with the cyan pigment, for example, there's nothing that's really proper cyan. There's lots of yellows that are in the range that works, and in the magentas probably, I'm not sure. It's like in that area somewhere pretty close. It's hard to find pure pigments that are true complementaries or that complement each other in some way, like building up a proper triangle or just on a line, like an orange and a teal that you mix together and it becomes a perfect gray. That's what you're talking about, right?
Yes.
Orange and
for sure, not be exactly accurate, but I just wanted to know if I still can achieve something that still remain in the same color range, but for example, more desaturated.
Desaturation is also a thing, like working on faces or something. This teal pigment I just told you is perfect for adding when you're doing skin tones and you want to desaturate them. It's like a perfect complementary kind of to skin tones, for example. And the thing is, we would have to work out like numbers, ratios or something we tell our customers, okay, do it in that ratio and you'll get there where you want? Or is it like you prefer pigments that do work when you're just mixing them for yourself and you get a perfect complementary output? Is it, yeah, one or the other? I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, actually, for my preferences, I would love to completely work with single pigment. I mean, if there is like you said, a chart that is helping me, then why not? Why not? But personally, when I paint, just from my experience, I love to mix everything. I don't use anything pre-mixed, and so I can achieve basically everything. So yeah, for me, I would definitely prefer the complete mix. Definitely.
Okay. Yeah. One other thing I want to add, that we had that in our channel last week or something. We made a little quiz out of it regarding that orange teal, that teal again, that cyan, cobalt teal it's called, and we ordered some samples from, I don't know, 2-3 manufacturers, and one of it was already in liquid form. Like you get pigments in powder form, pure powder, and you also get pre-dispersed in water, let's say, something like that, and water plus additives a little bit, but it's already pre-dispersed. To disperse a pigment, you have to work it really hard with special machines to make those pigment particles detach from each other and have them free, because the more free they are, the more colorful the thing gets, and the better it is for the paint. Like the more smooth the paint gets and everything. So you can also buy them pre-dispersed. And one of it was pre-dispersed. And when it came, I opened the bottle and I looked inside and I was like, what's that? Do we have a picture, Marcel?
Yes, I think.
It's in the, which channel was it? I don't know, something about.
No, give me 1 second. I got it. I can share it.
Because it's actually for the topic you just asked. It's nice.
Yeah, you can see it.
Okay. And I really thought, what's that? What's that orange stuff inside, you know? And then it came to me that orange is like the perfect complementary to that field. And the pigment manufacturers themselves do this, and even though they sell it as pure pigment, and it basically is, it's like 90 to be honest, but I think
maybe we can measure our pigments with the photospectrometer, and after that we can have a look if we get a good ratio of two pigments, of two pure pigments, and say, okay, one of this one and two of the other one are mixed together, exact the complementary of the third one. Or maybe something like this. I think this.
It's just two colors that are complementary to each other. You know? But yeah, basically.
Yeah, if there is not one directly complementary to this, you maybe can get directly complementary by mixing two other monopigments.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
It's a bit hard because the pigments, their raw shape, it's hard to find the perfect complementary. I think it's a good idea maybe to have something in the range that you can expect to be mixed in, and then it turns out to be proper gray or something. It's a good input also. I think we should catch on to that idea.
Also, I would be curious to know if mostly I also use artist colors, which are more satin. Do you think that if I'm gonna mix with a satin color, I will maintain the property of your colors without any problems?
Okay. We try to make them quite matte, so matte finish. Yeah, satin. Because the thing is, for small things like miniatures, I'd say the best paint is a matte paint, because everybody knows you get some glossy paints, cheap acrylic paints, and you paint something, and it just looks ugly, you know. That's the shininess. For smaller things. Sorry?
Yes. For sure. I mean, if, I just want to know if by mixing, I could still obtain something interesting. Because for sure, I paint miniatures as well, and yes, you're completely right about that. Being too satin, it's not good. So I usually just work with satin colors for achieving a different property with the mix, just like that.
Yeah. I think it would work well with that idea. Because we want to go in that area, and glossy is not an option for us. Maybe we put out a glossy clear coat for everybody to just spray it on and get a glossy finish if we really want. But glossy is completely out of the option for us, so we focus on the more satin matte finish.
But I think the question was, if I understand it right, if there are any problems if you mix another satin color with our matte ones.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. There are why are colors satin? The paint companies put in mattening agent in the paint to give the outer appearance like this matte finish, like a satin finish. And there's different kinds of those mattening agents. There's waxes, something else, and that's what we are using. It's not a wax, it's a solid substance that sticks on the outside, and I think it behaves much better with other colors and everything. It should work with everything. So I don't expect to get problems. It makes
sounds good. Sounds great. Sounds definitely great. Thank you.
All right. Yeah. You're welcome. If you have any questions, also anything about paints, like not especially with our paints. This looks like this is a big marketing show and everything, but if you want to know anything about paints or something, just ask me all the time, also in the chat or whatever. It doesn't have to do with our product or whatever, just your experience or anything.
Yeah, it's also a hobby for Philip. No?
Yeah.
it's not only a business.
I love answering questions. Yeah. Anybody else? Yeah.
Well, basically, even if I'm not a tester, if there will be an occasion to have the occasion to try your paints, I will be very, very happy and see how they behaves.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, I will be very curious.
Yeah, okay. So one thing again, the beta testers we've selected, like 20 something people, 25 or so, they are all, most of them are quite well known in the scene, and we just, to be honest, we just picked them kind of randomly. Like we also looked a little bit who has some influence, like can spread the word for us, because that's what we also needed. But besides that, we just looked who's painting nice miniatures and whose stuff we like, and then we asked them, you want to be a beta tester? And most of them just immediately said yes. The thing is, like, they get the paint and they test it for their standards and everything, and they, like, the beta paints are already, I don't know, let's say 85-90% complete. So what they say about them is mostly how they will be later on. So mostly like things like pigment content. I don't think there's a reason to change that if it's set one time, because we don't want to be cheapskates or whatever and save on, I don't know, 10% pigment or something. You already put in way more. So what they tell about the paints is pretty much their opinion, and I think it's a good way because we believe in our product. So it's a good way to already learn a bit about the paint, because they don't get any compensation for it and everything. It's just their opinion, and they're well known, so you can, I think, trust their word. What they say about the paint, and then later on, I don't know, we just talked about our friend PSK Knucklehead is doing a live stream on.
I think the 28th or 29th this month. Yeah, he's doing a charity event, and we sponsored also a set of colors where he will do it for auction for this charity. So if you are not one of the lucky ones who wins already one of our sets we announced at the beginning, that's also a chance for you to get your hands on one of these early stage paints.
Yeah, that's one opportunity, exactly. Yeah. And then we just talked about it before the show, how we want to handle it and stuff. Maybe there could be a later opportunity, because we have to work with limited supplies. We have our supplies for the beta test stuff, and
Yeah,
beta
neat.
paints, and maybe there's something left over then from the materials, and then there's no reason for us to keep it. So there could be an opportunity later on, but it's not sure because we haven't manufactured those beta paints yet. So after that, we maybe announce. Sorry?
Can I ask a couple of questions about the ranges? Is that all right?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna. Sorry, my mic's not been working. I've been trying to chip in through the conversation. I've just realised my mic wasn't working.
Oh.
So apologies for that.
Good now.
Are you planning to do additives, things like glaze mediums, matte mediums, that sort of stuff to add into the sets as well as sort of supplementary stuff on the sort of basis that people can start with a base paint and then manipulate it how to tweak their own painting styles, that sort of stuff?
Yep. Base paints. We want to put up some base paints like primers. You mean? You're talking about primers, right?
I'm not talking about primers. I'm talking about things like, for example, matte mediums or gloss mediums, satin mediums, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Okay. Mediums. I just said it. Yeah. There will be our standard matte medium, which is kind of the same medium that also is used for all the paints. It's the standard matte one, and then there will be a satin and a gloss medium. Like if somebody wants to have their stuff glossy or whatever, you can have that too. Pigments alone, I'm not sure yet. Maybe on a later stage you also supply the pigments, so you can tweak around as you wish. But that's what we want to add, like the mediums, and from that also coming will be the fluorescent colors, range like I don't know, 5, 6 fluorescents, I think, right?
I think about 6 till 8. I'm not sure. Yeah, we can.
More fluorescents. Then we'll have the metallic ones. Also, quite nice pigments we're using. We have 2 suppliers of pigments in the metallic range. It's Merck. One is also a German company, and the other one is Eckart Pigments. It's a German manufacturer. Both of them are German manufacturers, and they are also like top of the line regarding metallic pigments. And from that we are doing a metallic range as well. So there will be the base paints separated into the mixes and the monopigmented ones. Then, as I just said, the mediums. Primers. Primers, again, there will be, at the moment, we're just thinking about 3 primers, which will be a black primer, a gray primer, and a white primer. And then, the metallics, the fluorescents. Yeah, that's enough for a startup.
That's enough, definitely not.
It's a 6 fluorescents and 9 metallics.
Oh, yeah, thanks.
Yeah, we try.
Who's your audience for this, if you don't mind me asking? So, I mean, who do you envisage will buy your paints? So, are you planning to sort of be a mass market, sort of along the sort of lines of, say, Ultracryl, or are you trying to get on more of a niche sort of root scale 75 artist range, Chimera, that sort of thing? Where's your
more like that, but still, it's more a more professional artist range thing. But still, price-wise, we don't want to be too expensive. So also beginners can start with our paint. So, it's also a thing about handling, because that's why we split up already our base paint range. The more to be something like that too. Like tell on the packages what's inside, how transparent or opaque the whole paint will be. Like all those things you have from the art market, and bring that to the miniature world. So it's more the experienced users and the more experienced and pro players.
It's
That's really good. Thank you.
yeah, it's the I think we try to really do a high quality. Yeah, and high quality don't means only the professions can use it, right? If the price is okay, it's also really cool for beginners to have a really good paint at hand. And for this, maybe one thing more about the pricing. We also said, okay, because we are using also very high priced pigments, we talk about, okay, what need to be the prices be, and so we decided to split it at three ranges. Some ones are the cheaper ones, because of the whole ingredients, including the pigments, will be under decent level. Then we say, okay, we can give them for a lower price. Then the mid-range ones, where are the amount and the price of the pigments are higher. And then we will have also the third range for the ultra expensive pigments we used. And in some paints we use a lot of the ultra expensive pigments, and so we don't want to doing mixed calculations on this. So you can decide if you don't need some of these expensive paints. You can also go with with another color, maybe the same color, but with a lower price pigment, and can go with this. So you don't need the brightest yellow if you don't want to pay the price for it. So you can also take the normal yellow you also get from others.
Yeah, that's really interesting. That's really similar to the way the artist paints paints, isn't it? So it's basically the same way to do that. You don't see that with other miniature paints. I'll be interested to see how well that goes down. That's it's interesting.
Yeah, the thing is, like there's a base price because the handling is the same, and most of the ingredients are the same. The only thing that sticks out is that pigment, that one pigment thing, and that's why this base price is for everything, and like the more expensive pigment is just not that turns out.
Yeah, it sounds really exciting. Yeah,
Yeah.
it sounds like you're on the right track. So yeah, well done. I just wanted to say thank you as well for sharing all the information you have done. I think it's been really helpful. So really appreciate it.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, thanks.
Again, if you have any questions or whatever, just ask it. Alright. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I think we finished the 2 hours marathon. Yeah, so I think we close for now. But yeah, I'm really sure we will have meet the team maybe in 1 or 2 months again. Yeah, I think I have a lot of fun at these things, and yeah, we also get some good feedback, good ideas. Yeah, I think it's quite yeah, good for us to keep in touch with yeah, with you. So yeah, hope to see you next time again. And yeah, all the people, yeah, the 3 people who win the prizes, we will contact for their addresses and so. Well, then. Thanks for your time, and see you again. Bye bye.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you and good luck.
Yeah.
Thanks.